What if the monster at the end of Fallout Season 2, Episode 4 isn't just a threat, but a memory? What if it isn't there to kill, but to remind the world of a mistake that was never supposed to survive? Fallout Episode 4, titled The Demon in the Snow, doesn't just end with a Deathclaw reveal. It ends by collapsing the line between past and present, between war and survival, and between who these characters were and who they're becoming. And once you really break it down, this episode quietly confirms that Fallout Season 2 is no longer about surviving the wasteland. It's about dismantling the systems that created it. From its opening moments, Episode 4 signals that it's operating on a deeper level. We begin not in the wasteland, but in the past, during the Alaskan campaign, with Cooper Howard long before he became the Ghoul. Trapped inside malfunctioning power armor, Cooper is helpless as chaos unfolds around him. This moment isn't just about war trauma. It's Fallout distilling its core philosophy into a single image. Technology promised protection, but instead became a coffin. And while radiation may have transformed Cooper physically, this scene makes it clear that what truly created the Ghoul was betrayal. Betrayal by systems, by governments, and by people who believed control mattered more than humanity. This flashback is important because it reframes everything we think we know about monsters in Fallout. The real horror isn't radiation, it's intention. Cooper wasn't abandoned because of bad luck. He was expendable. And that idea echoes forward into the present timeline in terrifying ways. Back in the wasteland, Maximus reaches the most defining moment of his arc so far. His decision to kill Paladin Harkness is not framed as ambition, revenge, or even rebellion. It is an act of necessity. Children are in danger, and the Brotherhood of Steel refuses to see them as anything more than collateral damage. In that moment, Maximus chooses humanity over hierarchy, empathy over obedience. And Fallout makes sure we understand the cost of that choice. The Brotherhood of Steel, for all its armor and structure, is exposed as hollow. Their faith isn't in justice or protection, it's in symbols. Rank, armor, authority. That's why the following sequence, where Thaddeus impersonates Harkness by wearing stolen power armor, works on such a sharp thematic level. It's darkly funny, yes, but it's also disturbing, because it proves that within the Brotherhood, the suit matters more than the soul inside it. Identity is disposable. Humanity is optional. As leadership fractures and paranoia spreads, the Brotherhood collapses inward. And this isn't a coincidence. It mirrors the collapse of pre-war governments that believed rigid order could replace compassion. Fallout isn't subtle here. Systems that refuse to bend will always break. Meanwhile, Lucy undergoes the most dramatic transformation of the episode, and arguably the season. Her use of buff-out isn't treated as a joke or a temporary lapse. It's portrayed as a turning point. Lucy doesn't just take the drug. She embraces what it allows her to become. Her reckless, almost joyful violence against the Elvis-themed ghouls is shocking not because it's out of character, but because it reveals a side of her that's been buried beneath vault conditioning. This is where the episode becomes uncomfortable, in the best way. Because Lucy isn't possessed. She isn't corrupted. She's unfiltered. The drugs don't create something new. They remove the restraints. And when the ghoul watches her fight, surprised and amused, it's because he recognizes that moment. He knows what it feels like when the world strips you down to your rawest self. But here's the tension. Fallout intentionally leaves unresolved. What happens when the drugs wear off? Lucy can't unsee who she was in that moment. She can't pretend it wasn't her. And that's where Season 2 quietly shifts direction. Lucy can no longer exist as Vey. Lucy can no longer exist as Vault Lucy or Wasteland Lucy. She has to become someone new, someone forged from both worlds. While Lucy is transforming physically and emotionally, the Vault storyline continues to reveal the most insidious horror of all: control through obedience. Betty and Stephanie's power struggle exposes Vault-Tec's true legacy. These Vault residents aren't just survivors. They're test subjects conditioned to prioritize rules over life itself. When Woody reports Stephanie's rule-breaking directly to her instead of protecting himself, it's not stupidity. It's indoctrination. Violence doesn't exist in his mental framework. Punishment through authority does. Even more chilling is Reggie's insistence on water access based on charter rules, despite a literal survival crisis. The Vault residents don't understand adaptability. They understand compliance. And Fallout makes it painfully clear that none of them would survive long outside. Which raises a terrifying question. Is that the point? Hints about Phase 2 and Hank's obsession with activating the chip suggest Vault-Tec's experiments were never about preservation. They were about refining control. And Lucy, having seen the truth, is the one variable Hank can't control anymore. That's why he needs something stronger than rules. He needs leverage. Then there's Maximus, arguably the emotional spine of this episode. For much of The Demon in the Snow, Maximus seems lost, reactive, almost directionless. And that's exactly the point. When Elder Cleric Quintus confronts him, Maximus delivers one of the most honest lines in the series. He doesn't have a plan. Plans belong to people with safety. Out here, you just respond to what's in front of you. This reframes everything about Maximus. He isn't reckless. He's present. He acts when action is required. His moral compass doesn't come from doctrine. It comes from his parents, from sacrifice, from empathy. The Brotherhood may have raised him, but it didn't shape him. And that distinction matters. Maximus represents a new kind of hero, one without prophecy, power, or destiny. When he has power, he uses it to protect. When he doesn't, he still chooses kindness. Fallout positions him not as a savior, but as a catalyst, someone whose actions begin dismantling systems that no longer serve the world they claim to protect. And then the demon appears. The final moments of Episode 4 don't tease the Deathclaw. They announce it. The horned creature emerging from the snow isn't just a monster reveal for shock value. It's Fallout pulling the curtain back on its deepest theme. The past never stays buried. Deathclaws were not accidents. They were engineered, created by the U.S. government as living weapons, meant to replace soldiers in high-risk combat zones. They were designed to save human lives by being expendable. Instead, they became uncontrollable, the ultimate symbol of ambition devouring itself. And this particular Deathclaw matters because of when and where it appears. Cooper saw this creature before the bombs fell. That means it wasn't born of the apocalypse. It survived it, which collapses the show's timeline divide entirely. Pre-war horrors didn't disappear. They adapted. When the ghoul sees the Deathclaw and reacts with genuine fear, it's the first time Lucy sees him shaken. That moment is crucial. The ghoul isn't afraid of death. He's afraid of recognition, because this demon connects him to Cooper Howard, to Vault-Tec, to Barb, to the lie that everything was done for the greater good. And here's the chilling theory Episode 4 plants without confirming. What if the Deathclaw doesn't see the ghoul as prey? What if it recognizes him as an asset? Vault-Tec didn't create monsters randomly. They created systems, safeguards, permissions. If this creature was programmed not to harm Vault-Tec associates, Cooper might still be on its whitelist. And if that's true, then the most terrifying thing about the Deathclaw isn't its strength, it's its memory. Fallout Season 2. Episode 4 isn't about escalation, it's about revelation. Every storyline, Lucy's transformation, Maximus's moral clarity, the Vault's obsession with control, Cooper's fractured identity, converges on one truth. The apocalypse didn't break the world. It revealed it. And now the demons of that world are walking again. The war isn't coming. It never ended. Thank you for watching.